Hello and welcome. This is Gray Hughes of Gray Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching.
Huh? It's a house!
There's mosquitoes the size of bald eagles in that dadgum swamp.
Come on, man. What's wrong with you?
You know, that's just one step above stupid. Have you lost the last 3 brain cells, or do you just have cabbage for brains?
Oh wait, I gotta get back to my regular me too. Well, there's Dr. Colleen Fitzpatrick.
How do I get the chat going?
I guess you'd have to open up the.
Oh, I got it. Hi, everybody. I got it.
Because there's chat even in this on the online StreamYards thing too. But
yeah, I have the StreamYards chat. Should I look at that, or are there other chats?
No, that's fine to look at it in here. Another reason why it's good, because people can read the chat.
I'm trying to connect now to the chat. So,
well, how's it been going?
Everything's fine. Hi, freaks. Haven't seen you guys in a while. How's everybody out there in Freakland? You see, I'm wearing my Freak T-shirt.
Yeah, she has the We Are Freaks hoodie on.
Yeah, that's right. Right. Yeah. So I'm trying to get the chat here. So,
I don't know how to.
It makes can I just go to the YouTube channel and do that and see that?
Yeah,
it's so much easier. I'm sorry, freaks. I was not prepared. We're doing this a different way this time. The freaks, y'all tell me how you're doing while I figure this out. There it is. Now, I've been told this about 50 times. Let this come up, and then there's 3 dots. Oh, there I am. Okay, and I got to find the 3 dots. Wait a minute. Gee, where's the 3 dots? Great, 3 dots aren't there anymore.
Maybe in the upper right. Maybe you have to expand it open a little bit.
No, there's no 3 dots.
Did you open up the video?
There's video, short, live.
Well, go to the video, the one that's playing.
Video, no, that's all the videos.
I mean, the live stream. Like, go to the lives and
live.
Click on this live stream.
Okay.
After you go to live, you'll see one that's actually live, and then you click on it.
I don't think. Oh, wait, maybe. Welcome to live chat. Okay, I'm in live. Let me just try. Hi, freaks.
Let's
yeah. Oh, I see the 3 dots. Okay, I'm gonna pop it out.
Oh yeah.
Pop out chat. Got it. Okay, now I can go back. These high-tech things baffle me. They're very. Anyway, I'm back. Okay, and I see the freaks. I can get the chat here. I didn't want to sign up. When you sign in the live stream and stuff like that, they always say, are we going to get access to all your personal data, your credit card, your bank, your everything, and your driver's license and your social security number. So click here so you can join our chat. And I don't like that. I feel comfortable.
We have somebody in there named Muddy Paws who said, where is that?
Oh, Ramapo.
Okay. No, before that, they said they worked there, with.
Yeah, just
before that one too. Oh, yeah. I didn't know where Colleen on. I worked with her friend Margaret Press, and then she said she went to Ramapo. Is that calls it just as FGG or what? or IgG?
Yeah, IgG, FGG, FIGG. You know, people call it a lot of different things. You know, because they do, and nobody can decide on what to call it. But I think we're getting down to FIGG, which is FIG. I don't know if I feel comfortable.
Forensic investigative genetic genealogy.
Yeah, because you have the forensic part and you have the investigative part. You know, the forensic part is getting the data and everything. And then the investigative part is when you're supposed to be sitting there and figuring out the answer.
Yeah.
So,
Well, have we ever actually talked about how you started doing this? I don't know if you ever, because I remember you used to be like a rocket scientist, but how did that end up being, how did that get into genetics, you know?
Oh, well, let's see. That is a good question. Let's say it just happened. You know, yes, I am a rocket scientist, or I have been, really. And let's see, how did that happen? So I had a rocket science company, and I was working for NASA, and I was really working for NASA, and we were contracting on the next spacecraft to Jupiter. Okay. And we won. We were working with Northrop Grumman, and I did a little design to put in our proposal, and we won the, you know, and then they, you know, it's a big contract, just like $8 billion over 20 years. So I figured I'm not going to get all the money, but I'll get some of it. But anyway, that was George W. Bush, and NASA was kind of fighting for its existence. And this big contract, they didn't want to feed too many people over at NASA, made it bigger, you know. So they cut back on it, and then they finally canned it. And then this big program went away, and that was very upsetting. And that was one of 10 things. So we closed the company, and I had my first book ready, Forensic Genealogy, which was a hobby, and not a hobby anymore, you know. So it just caught on, and people really like it, and that's it. You know, I started working all kinds of stuff after that.
So you just did it on the side. You know, I was just checking out. I just got our updated financial. Here, I'll kind of switch it over to that.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you, Freak, for being so generous. I want to tell you, we do have a couple of cases in the pipeline, and we would like to thank you and everything, because we couldn't do it without it. Now we're just getting the cases in, so we can't say too much about it right now.
Yeah,
but they are unidentified human remains, and it's a very interesting story. A lot of it just happened this week or last week and next week. So once we get our feet on the ground, so to speak, we can tell you more about it, and it's actually very interesting.
Yeah, I was going to say that currently we have 18,300 left in there. But the total that we've given to identifiers since we started doing it was $89,750 right here.
Yeah,
that's pretty crazy. You can buy a house in some parts of the country.
You know, that's profound. Thank you, Freaks. Over time, that is so totally profound. And we have 2 cases coming up. One definitely we know. The other we're just starting to talk about. So we'll be able to cover that, maybe a third one. Let's do one at a time, okay? So one kind of, we're just starting to parlay about it, and then we have money left over for another one. And these are unidentified human remains cases.
Mm-hmm.
That's easier because you don't get into going to court, and you don't have to worry. You know, legally it's a lot easier to do unidentified remains cases. You know, it's what is it? Requirements and stuff are easier to really show it's the real guy. You know, the standard of proof, I think, is not as strict. So, yeah. So yes, it's what the true crime should, what community should be about. Absolutely. Oh, there's somebody from Sydney, Australia here. Hi, it's one of my favorite places. You live near the Opera House? Is there any place else other than near the Opera House? I am not sure, but I do know there's the Opera House. So, okay, so what's going on with you guys? Let's see. I think, Gray, do you still have COVID, Gray? What's going on?
Yeah. I'm just like only like a couple days in. It's weird. It kind of make you feel good parts of the days and then not good the part of the other day.
Yeah.
So the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And my brain's a little bit, like
Yeah.
you could put something on the stove and forget it. You're just
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. And then 5 days later, there's the spaghetti, kind of dried up and stuck to the floor. Yeah.
I was cooking trout yesterday and it was like a little trout. I put it on there and I went into the other room and all of a sudden, oh shit. And I went back in there and I still was able to eat it. I just have to chisel off because I was steaming it. It was like yesterday. So
yeah. So how you guys doing? How many of you have taken DNA tests just for fun? People do that for fun. Just wondering what kind of crowd we have on tonight. Oh, on the northern beaches of Sydney, but not far. That means, let's see, northern beaches of Sydney. I'm trying to remember the names up on the northern beaches of Sydney. I know I've been through the ferries, and you live near Luna Park. Poor person. Poor Luna Park up there. Or let's see, here's somebody from the Gold Coast. Oh, Townsville. I've been to Townsville. It was just totally great. I love, let's see, DNA tested entire family. How'd you talk them into it? Mine won't do it. Ancestry took a test a year ago. Anybody have any big surprises? Oh, here's too expensive. Hey, Ancestry has a sale for $39 right now. Hurry on down. Oh yeah, there's Muddy Paws again with current working with Margaret on the team. Okay, well, good luck with that.
I disappeared just for a second. I gotta put something in a screen. Okay.
Yeah, he's taking the trout off the stove. There he is.
That's what it looked like. The blackness. It was the bottom. That was
Yeah.
the charcoal.
Yeah, there's this $39 sale on Ancestry. If it might be too expensive for you right now. Different people have different budgets, but that's about as low as it ever gets. Somebody said never ever. Well, that's fine. Oh, a half aunt and a new first cousin. I want to say I took a test to see if I was adopted, and I wasn't. So it went the other way. People get there and they big surprise. Hey, you've got another half cousin, another brother, another sister, another third cousin, but me, no, I knew them all. It was very disappointing.
She definitely had hope.
Yeah. I was hoping that I'd find somebody new because I'm tired of all the old ones, but it didn't happen. And I was extremely disappointed, but that had nothing to do with the test.
Let's see.
So what's going on? Let's see.
Well, our cases that we're doing, like, what are we? And by the way, we can have people ask questions and stuff too, but we're just trying to, we have all these cases that are in the background or different ones that we're trying to get started on. Like Zooming and doing different things.
Yeah. Let's regroup a little bit. Let me bring you up to date on the Vermont case. Let me open up our case file here and talk about the Vermont case, because that one has been hanging around, and I don't know how much further. What you want to do that?
Well, yeah, because Plato on the screen there. She's one of the ones that wanted to write a letter originally. I mean, I wish they would just let us exhume the body again and get better DNA.
Yeah, I know that. And we started. I'm looking at the case file. We started in December of 2021, and the outreach was in November. And December, and it was a man named Steve Shapiro and anyway, he sent some, pictures over and stuff. So we went from there. And then the problem is that the remains are so degraded, just so bad. And they did the best we could in, tissueizing it and pumping it up and doing this and that. And they extracted it. Let me look what happened. And it was just no DNA that they could get out of it. So we tried again. And then we have this new stuff called Kintelligence. And the Kintelligence is supposed to be really good for degraded stuff. And So we did that, and finally we just couldn't get enough DNA out of the poor remains. So, Astria is the prominent, what is it? Premier house for DNA extraction on really bad stuff, and they couldn't get anything. So I'm a little concerned. It's hard for us to move on that. I think it was a woman, a juvenile, and a child, and we were doing the child, I think, and the woman, I think. So, yep. So that was about it. So we, unfortunately, we got a little bit of DNA, but not a ton. And that was the problem on that. So,
and it's weird because, the thing is, you guys are at Identifiers International are the kind of like experts at using just the smallest amount and trying to figure out a way to get it to work.
Yeah, we're really very good at really bad DNA. That's another way of saying it. Remember the boy in the box? For that one, oh my God. That one goes down in history, like really bad DNA.
I think Daniel Armentrout wasn't that great either.
Oh, it was awful. It was 1961.
Yeah.
So, that is pretty bad.
And that's one of ours. Our.
Yeah. And, absolutely. I have pictures of that. I can show you, it was obviously it was bad. And the real good part about that one is that we pulled it off, because beforehand, they had exhumed in 2015, and the National Center of Missing Exploited Children had exhumed that, the little boy, and they will send it to UNT. And when they sent it to UNT, nada, ni jota, nothing.
Boy in the box, right?
No, this is Danny. Danny.
Oh, Danny. Oh, I didn't realize. Okay.
No, well, you brought it up, so I, thought I'd.
No, I didn't realize that all that happened. That's what I was saying. Like, I didn't know.
Yeah, well,
tree stuff.
Yeah, no, either I told you and you forgot, or because that's
Probably.
Part of my talk. That's part of my talk. And if you guys remember, he was in a car accident. He was hitchhiking in rural Alabama, and the car went into the river. It hit a guardrail and went into the river. So nobody knew who he was, because he didn't have a driver's license or any ID. He had stuff on him. He had a watch, he had a ring, he had a picture of his girlfriend. Didn't help.
The scratch tattoo of RY plus love.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had those weird like laundry receipts. Like, even he had these little serial numbers for laundry.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? That's just so weird, that part of it.
Yeah. So he had bunches of stuff that didn't make any difference. So they put it in a newspaper, kind of tried to distribute the information. Nothing happened. Okay. So when we asked to do it, he said, hey, we have this donor who's interested in the case. That's probably one of the best cases we've done with you, because they said, why are you doing this? This is like ridiculous. And you know what else? This is like a very rural area. So when we first called, I got, they have a number in NamUs. So you call a number, and it was this receptionist at a church saying, what do you want? I said, well, there's a boy buried in your cemetery. And it was like, what? Okay. And I said, can I talk to the medical examiner? She said something like, well, he's not here right now. He's like the third or fourth medical examiner. And in the town, he had other jobs. So it was like, yeah, but he doesn't really know a lot, because the previous medical examiner had a heart attack and died, and he took it over from the first one. So there was this train of medical examiners that we had to deal with. And so finally it was like, why do you want to do that? We're going to do it. And then when he had to request the DNA or the bones from UNT and get them back. We couldn't ask for it directly. And he handled it, and he sent it to Astria. And Astria and IMF kind of did really good. They got, instead of getting 0 on a tooth, they got 46 times the amount of DNA we need, 46 times. And then the piece of tibia got like 6 times, 5.5 or 6 times.
However,
So we really sucked some DNA out of those bones, And of course, it took about a month. And the really interesting part about that was when they examined him, either recently or in the past, they said, "Hey, this guy, he had. It looks like he may have had worn a leg brace at one time. His leg is kind of funny." Okay, put that on the hard drive. And then finally, Misty got down to maybe a first cousin or something. And the first cousin she called actually lived in Germany. He was in the military or lived in Germany, something to do with the military. So she called over there, and the cousin said, I think it was a woman. They said, look, we're looking for somebody who's 15 years old, 18 in 1961. He was in rural Alabama. He's hitchhiking. Now here's a picture of what we think he looked like. And she goes, that might be Virginia's son, Danny. And there was this pause, and she said, but he walked with a limp. Maybe that's not him. Maybe it is him.
Well, what's cool about that part is like some random person just sent me this FBI PDF file, and that was in there. I read it through it, and then I gave it to Misty, and that's how she knew that there was a limp. It was actually in that document. It said the FBI said he not a limp. It was that he had polio or something. He may have wore a brace or something.
Yeah, a brace, right.
And that's what jogged her memory of that.
Yeah, and the woman in Germany said, no, but he walked with a limp. Now it couldn't be him. I said, maybe it could be. And it was. And then of course, you go back. This is 1961. His parents are gone, right? So we contacted, he had one of three brothers, and there was David, Donald, and Danny. And the interesting part was that Donald disappeared too. No, David, the older brother, disappeared too. Both brothers disappeared. And the middle brother had been looking for him, but didn't know, what to look or anything like that. And so finally, we called him. He said, yeah, I've been looking. But he thought he'd get his older brother because his older brother had a social security number. But the older brother disappears sometime in the 1960s, 1963 in Florida. That's the last we know about the older brother. He's might be a John Doe somewhere else. So anyway, that was a real big success story. Misty flew down there and went to the ceremony. They had a big ceremony.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. That was pretty cool. I actually was on your big screen, like the Brady Bunch, there like 25 people up on the screen. And yeah, that was kind of cool. I guess I was at the press conference. But I think there's even more with the DNA. Remember how when we first did it, it was so full of that nanograms you were talking about was bacteria.
Yeah.
So they tried that enrichment thing, and it was like, oh, God, and then they sort of, maybe you could explain that part.
Yeah, well, guys, what happens is in this case, a lot of the older remains have a lot of bacteria, and you can imagine that's common. You have just stuff over it. And what happens is if you just put that through the system, the chemicals that they use to clean, to actually sequence and work on the DNA, they get grabbed up by the bacteria. So you wind up, the needle in the haystack, and the haystack grabs everything. So what they do is they send in a chemical that just targets the needle, and it washes away the haystack. So if you have a needle in a haystack, you get rid of the haystack, the needle's left, and that's it. And that's called enrichment, because you may have, like 1% human when you start out. You may have almost 100% when you're finished of human DNA. So that's how it works. And we had to do that with Danny because he was loaded with bacteria. I mean, the bones are in the grave for 50, 60 years. But we did it. And we got 45 times the amount of DNA you can even imagine you needed. So that's like a 55-gallon drum for us.
Hey, let me thank some people here really quick. Hey, thanks Wendy Van Rocco, Plato, Ozzy Trisha, Muddy Paws, Allie Cake, Amber Maiden, Allie Cake, This Account, K Me, Sherry Wilson, Michelle H, WNC Granny, and this account again at the end there. If you do medical testing on DNA, is it in the system or HIPAA protected? That's one of the questions she just asked.
No, because it's not a medical exam. You know, here's an analogy. You know, you could go to the drugstore and get those blood pressure machines, you know, that you sit down and while you're waiting for your prescription, you put your arm in the cuff and they go, wah, 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 and they get your
And if it made that sound, I'd never go use one.
Yeah, well, don't use it then.
I mean, Jesus.
Like to chew your arm off. That's not a medical device. That is not HIPAA.
It needs to go, you know, just nice.
Oh, yeah, they went,
yeah.
You know what? I was in the hospital one time and I had like painkiller and they went, and they went,
Oh.
And she said, I know you're alive. You know, I just can't measure your blood pressure. I said, how much lower does it get before I die? You know, it was like 70/30 or something. It was.
I think I had that after a surgery too, from the anesthesia. It did that.
Yeah, they do something to you. But so, yeah. Anyway, we were somewhere, but yeah. So we
did. You were just talking about enrichment, and finally, you got it, put it in there. That's what led to Misty going and.
Yeah,
getting down to the cousin, calling Germany, and then the other crazy part of that story, right, was that one of the other brothers. There's 3 brothers. One was missing from about the same time period.
Yeah,
and he's never been found either.
Yeah, no, he was down in Florida. We think we don't know what happened to him, but he had a ticket for vagrancy or something. It's 1963, and we don't know what happened after that.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, so they don't. You know, this is not really a medical test. It's kind of, and 23andMe got a little into trouble a little bit years ago, you know, for making claims that, you know, you could figure out this or that, but it's not really like that. It's just, you might have a marker or something. I don't know. They're a rich, big company and they can take care of things like that with their attorneys and doing all kind of tests and interviews. And so, yeah, so Amber was saying she was crying at the ceremony and stuff. That's, yeah, we all were. Danny came home, you know.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then that press conference where I don't know if he was the sheriff, that sort of big guy with the, or maybe it was the mayor. He had white hair and he was kind of bigger. Was he he ran the show?
That was the medical, that was C.W. West, I think.
Oh, C.W. West. Yeah, he's like, and I want to thank all you freaks. That was so great. I can't remember exactly. He said, and I want to say thanks to all you freaks do. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And that was to us. So he was like, I don't know if he wanted to say that, but he said it with jolly happiness.
Yeah. It's like a little tip of the hat. And that's one of the kind of cases you want because, you know, that poor boy, Danny, would have laid there for eternity, you know, kind of dissolving into the soil, you know, without anything. You know, nobody would know what happened.
I think that's why Vermont, like everybody wants to do Vermont.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that one's just crazy, right? So old. That would be like a record almost, right? Like 19.
Yeah. Well, like they say here, who was saying this? The whole town took care of him. This account is saying that the whole town took care of him. You see, that's part of it. It's not just a grave somewhere that people forgot about. So, so Danny's at peace now. He has his name on his stone, which is what all you can really expect, you know. And so,
yeah.
Bibb
County Doe is what he was originally called. Now he's got a name, Daniel Armentrout, with the whole story behind it.
Yep. And it's not closure because he's not coming back, but it is release. But now the other brother, you know, who knows? Who knows where the other brother is?
Yeah.
You know, which is sad.
See, look at, I think this is it right here. Wow, I can't believe I found it. Look at this. Watch. Let me get the change screens. See, this is the FBI. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
This is that FBI document. And if you kind of like scroll down, this is from February. It's let's see, 1961. I don't know what volume. Looks like December.
Yeah.
So it's crazy, even the same year. And if you scroll down in it, apparently he let's see. There he is right there. Look.
Yeah, let me see.
Not wild. Now let me zoom in. I can go like that.
Yeah, that's the autopsy photos because that helped the brother identify him, you know.
There's RY plus love there.
Yeah.
But he looked absolutely normal. Like just looking
Yeah.
at that picture there.
Looks like
The drawing they had of him looked like an alien. You know, the one that they put out there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was crazy.
Right. I was trying to get my slides up to show you, you know, the ceremony. Just a minute. Let me get that up.
Let me see where it says like brace. I don't think it's in there.
Let's see. I'll see if I can get the slides up for the. I give a talk on him a lot. I don't really talk a lot about the genealogy. If you want to see my slides, do you want to see my slides, or is that?
I don't know. What do you guys want it?
Are you still looking at the FBI thing?
Well, Zozo just asked, did his brother know what the RY plus love meant?
No, not that we know of. Now that name shouldn't, you know, should be, if the brother could think about it, you know, the last name being Y, maybe that's the middle initial.
Yeah, it's cigarettes on him. I don't know. I can't find the part where it talked about I haven't looked.
Yeah.
Mentioned his leg. Wait. Yeah. Elbow forward above, horizontal, right ankle scar. God, it seems like the word limp was in there. Is that right?
Put limp.
Yeah, there it is. I got it.
Oh, what did it say?
The subject may have walked with a slight limp, exerting more pressure on the ball of the. God, that's pretty technical. Ball of the right foot than normal. Examination showed bones around the ankle joint enlarged due to a fracture, indicating a possible restriction of movement.
Oh.
So I don't know if that's what, you know, but anyways, he had a limp. So there you go.
Yeah. And that's what really did it. And he says he has a Timex watch, a medal, a Catholic medal, and,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah. And then he had his possession one package of Pall Mall cigarettes, one brown plastic billfold, a penny box of matches, a small key, a man's ruby ring with the inscription United States Army.
Yeah.
There was a whole bunch. They had tons of stuff on it.
Yeah.
Well,
the Army ring, you know, his middle brother was in the Army. Donald, who, you know, was the surviving brother. He came up from Florida. That was probably Donald's ring because he was in the Army. And he probably got it from him in Christmas of 1960 when, you know, the middle brother, Donald, left. He couldn't stand it. The whole house was very bad. You know, it was very abusive. The mother beat him. The stepfather beat him. The mother had remarried, and that's the problem. She had remarried, and the stepfather just beat him, called him names, burned him with cigarettes, whatever. So the middle brother would join the Army to get out of there in 1960. And he came back home at Christmas and he saw his two brothers and whatever. They hung out. But when he came back in 61, they were both gone. He never saw either one of them again. So, anyway.
And maybe we could talk about, but do you have more to say on that one?
No, I was just saying, I have pictures. You want to see if I share my screen? I can show you pictures if you want.
Okay. Are you able to?
I don't know how to, wait, can I do that or present? Oh, maybe this is it. Wait a minute. I have no slides. Wait a minute. Your computer. Wait a minute. Good PowerPoint video. Okay. I got to upload a file to do this. Okay. Let me find the file. I mean, this is all new technology that, okay, I know where it is. Maybe. Oh, the freaks can hold on. Freaks have a lot of patience, actually. Oh, okay, I know where it is. You want me to show the pictures of where the map of where he was and stuff like that? I'll be glad to do that. I want to make sure the freaks get their dose of where we are and where we're going and stuff. I'm sorry.
It doesn't. I mean, it might take a while just to kind of start loading them up. And I mean, I've shown them all on the maps where everything.
Okay, well, whatever you want, Gray. You're the master of the universe.
I want people to be able to ask you questions.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, freaks. Go ahead and ask me questions.
Yes, ask questions.
I mean, I do have this ready, and whatever you want.
Well, thanks, brown-eyed girl. Da-da-da-da. Let's see. I actually watch it. I have a sound effect for that.
What's going on? And guys, I'm sorry I haven't been around recently.
There you go.
I have no idea. I don't know what's going on. Wow, thanks for being brown-eyed girl.
Well, what I do, Muddy Paws asks, do you raise? Yeah. Well, the thing is, on my channel, I just donate a large portion of the income from my channel.
Yeah.
Like I just said a minute ago, I donated $89,000 over the last 4 years. So I mean, it's I just give back a lot of the money that I bring in, although it's been a little harder.
It's very generous, and all the money goes into the cases. Absolutely. So, we're very grateful for that. Now, I'm sorry I haven't been around lately. There was just sort of hiccup. Misty left. She'll come back hopefully one day. But, so I'm back now, and we're picking up where we left off. And like I said, the next time I come, we'll have some stuff to talk about, the current cases. But sometimes the detectives want us to wait, and hold off a little bit because they're detectives and they don't know, or they know or something. So next time I'm here, but ask questions. And we talked about Danny. We can talk about past cases or potential. If you have any cases you'd like to suggest, hey, we're all ears. We're all ears. Freaks are good. So
yeah, and there's been a lot of cases that come across, but we have you guys go check. But a lot of times somebody's already doing something. I mean, you would think nowadays everybody's, genetic genealogy or investigated genetic genealogy is really picking up and becoming more sort of a standard use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So a lot of cases that are out there that they're already doing stuff on it.
Yeah. Well, I want to tell you that there's this professor up in Canada who collects information on all the cases that come out. She looks through the media and whatever, talks to agencies. And she said in the latest in December of 2023, freaks, guess how many cases, the public cases, have been solved. I'll let the freaks kind of throw that out. How many do you think have been in her database? Just go ahead, guess. I'm looking at the chat. How many cases, public, not private, public, have been solved in the news? Come on, they have a Plato puts question mark.
What do you mean solved in the news? What do you mean?
I mean, it's solved by FGG and it's in the news and all the guys with the big
115. I'm just going to guess that. I mean, that you hear about. It might be, I think it's more than that now, but I'm just saying.
115, no. Maybe we solved 115.
Well, no, I'm saying that you heard about, you said. Because, like a lot of people, they don't let you know. How about 1,250?
Over 1,130, something like that.
Oh,
1,130 as of December last year. Now, that's just what's in the news.
That's crazy. Okay. Wow. So that just shows you.
And they have, I think, 8 in Australia, 1 in Norway, a couple in Canada. It's kind of spreading.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yep.
So, Molly Bish. Now Molly Bish is a hard one because they don't have a lot of DNA on that. You have to do some other investigative work. I know her parents are, and it's one of those things. One of the rules about when you can use FGG, I'm going to tell you, one of the absolute hardcore rules is that you have to have DNA. All right. So if you don't have DNA, you've got to figure something else out.
It's pretty tough.
Yeah, it's hard and fast.
Maybe you need to invent like the DNA psychic. That way you can just, Well, here's what I was wondering the other day was, everyone wants to have all the proof behind genetic genealogy. Like, hey, we want to know who the family tree was and everything like that. And it's like, for me, it's irrelevant. It's a lead that was generated. Now the cops have to then take that information and figure out the answer, right? But because here's the thing: what if a psychic is what the lead was to a cop? Like, what if there's psychics out there, right? Let's say a psychic said something to a cop. Would the defense team be, "Hey, prove to us how they got that information"? She just goes, "Hey, I just divined it. There's no answer, but the cops proved that was a correct lead," and that's really kind of.
That's all you need.
I think it's a good sort of comparison there, because that has happened where psychics, threw out a name and somehow it led somewhere.
Yeah. That's all you need, really. Just the lead. And then the psychic will say, "Hey, I have a feeling it was the guy next door. He came in, I saw him run past the house with bloody clothes on."
So what's the deal with the Molly Bish case, though?
No, Molly Bish, I don't think they have any DNA on that. I think I talked to the detective a few times, but after there's no DNA, it's hard
This
to
is
talk.
to find the killer, right? Like
Molly, the freak can tell better than I can, but Molly Bish was a young girl in Massachusetts, and she wasn't she a lifeguard? And she worked at a lake, and she pulled up her car near the lake, and she set up, like, she had a folding chair and cooler and stuff, set up a little campsite where she was watching the lake. And so somebody came later, a few minutes later. Of course, the lake had a lot of people, and she wasn't there. And they never have found her.
Was that in Canada?
No, it was in Massachusetts. Yeah, she was a lifeguard.
Oh, wow, that sounds so familiar to me.
Yeah, well, you should look it up. Tanya Fraser. I don't know who Tanya Fraser is. I'm sorry, but
no, I was thinking of another one in Canada at a lake.
No. They have plenty of them at the lake. There are plenty. So
well, this one though, it was kind of sounded similar.
Yeah, right. And as Plato pointed out, this was the first official Gray Hughes case, so it was a really good example. What you could do. With everybody. With what we could do. So
we've actually solved one. Remember, we solved the serial killer victim too.
Yeah. Which one was that?
Well, it was that black lady. I can't remember, that we weren't able to get her name because they kept it private, but she was a victim of a serial killer. Remember, she was in a hotel and she was identified. I can't remember the name of the serial killer, but she was identified, and the family didn't want her name out there. So that was one that would have been cool to be able to say.
Yeah, Highland. Looks like I'm looking, and that was Highland Park, maybe. Yeah, let me see. Oh yeah, I was disappointing, but the family was really sensitive. Let me see. Yeah,
she was a sex worker, so they didn't want people to know that. But
yeah,
that's a lot of victims of serial killers are sex workers.
Well, unfortunately, that is the case. Oh, and speaking of which, guys, this wasn't a Gray Hughes case, but I will tell you, if you look in the news, that I worked with North Carolina Bureau of Investigation on a case, and it was the death of a sex worker in 1992 by the off-ramp of the freeway. And I think it was in Surrey County, kind of in north of North Carolina. So anyway, they decided that was, for many reasons, a good case to work on FGG, and that was the first case we worked together. And when we did that, we figured out that it was a man named Warren Luther Alexander and he lived in Mississippi. I think he had lived in North Carolina for a while, maybe not, but he lived in Mississippi. He was retired. He was in his 70s. And so they arrested him. They flew down, got the covert sample, the surreptitious sample, flew down, arrested him, brought him to North Carolina, extradited him. He was waiting trial. He was in jail. And then a few weeks ago, there were 3 CODIS matches to 3 murders for him back in 1977, 15 years earlier. And those were also sex workers that were found. I think 2 of them were found in a hotel, and the other one may have been found by either in a hotel or on the side of the freeway again. And it was kind of like an accident. And, where, an agency can actually reach out to other agencies and request just a temporary search called a keyboard search for other states. And I believe that could have been a product of that North Carolina reached out to some other states, and then they reached out to California, and they just decided to, just temporarily look and see in their own state database, not the big CODIS database, but their state. And there was 3 of them, 3 matches right there. So this guy's been operating between 1977, at least 1972. Remember, he was arrested 2 years ago. So he could have been operating until, 2000, even 2005, 10, 15. So we expect we will see many different, other victims coming up, other victims. And he may be, if you figure out, and there may be a lot of victims that aren't connected because they don't have DNA. Maybe they're too old. The ones in the hotel they kept, but if they're out in the weather, you would get, you would just get skeletal remains and stuff. So you can look up Warren Luther Alexander. He's a bad dude. And I'd love to see his face. He's in jail for North Carolina, and he's decided he's going to fight it, or he's whatever. Not guilty, he's guilty, whatever. And then Ventura County shows up, 3 guys, and are saying, hey, we came to arrest you for California. It's like, what? You mean I didn't get away with it? Whatever. He's innocent until proven guilty, but his DNA was consistent with what was at those crime scenes and those.
It seems like when they got rid of when people quit hitchhiking, sex workers became the choice of victim because they're the only people left that'll just get into your car.
Yeah.
Here's what Muddy Paws just said again. How about Tim Miller, Texas Echo Search, which we've also given way over $20,000 to in donations. His daughter, Laura Miller, murdered. I believe they have DNA in that case. It would be great to solve.
Miller? Okay.
Yeah,
tell me about Tim Miller.
We know who Tim Miller is, right? The guy that Texas Echo Search founder. They go around and they're like that's amazing because you're like the Tim Miller of genetic genealogy. It's almost, yeah, but he's like he's always on television, and
I've seen
so good at solving. When somebody's missing, they're the best at going out. But his daughter, apparently, she was murdered many years ago, and I don't know. I guess she's saying that they have DNA in that case. I don't know.
Well, if I can, it's hard to contact people like that, but you can be persistent. When was his daughter murdered? If this is already on the news, see, part of the problem is this is so competitive. There's companies left and right that are jumping on all these cases. There's small cases, there's big cases. I'd like to know who was what was it, Muddy Paws that just finished Ramapo College?
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to know from Muddy what they expect to do with that certificate. There aren't very many jobs around. So,
what do you mean?
Well, I'm saying that, if you look at the companies and how many companies and how many people they hire, in Ramapo College, I think there's 100 people a year or something that go through that.
And how many jobs are available? I guess you can work at like police departments and things that don't have like an in-house person,
Yeah. Well, they could do that, and some of them will be soaked up by the departments.
Well, she said she solved her first one, so maybe we could ask her. Hey, Muddy Paws, where was your?
That was at Ramapo. No, but that was internal to Ramapo.
Yeah. What was that related to? Was that at a new job that you got, or was that just your thesis that you actually got that you figured it out?
Yep.
Maybe she'll answer.
Oh, here's Muddy. Hi, Muddy. Not much with Ramapo, but I'm working with the accredited board. Okay. All right. I got it. Good luck with that. I'm not taking the test, by the way.
Yeah. It's funny. It's sort of like a mechanic that we grew up knowing how to do it all. But if you went and took the test, you'd be like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I just know how to do it.
Yeah.
Or like, there's many things like those hackers. They're like the best programmers out there. But if you send them to a class to go take the test on They just go, I can't do your standard test. I just know what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I should write the test actually, but anyway, the accreditation thing is going to go on for a while. There's a difference between the people doing the genealogy accreditation and the type of forensic accreditation that needs to happen. So they're working on getting that, close.
Yeah. So what are they teaching like at that school, you think? Just how to do investigative genealogy, or do you become sort of certified like in court where there's a
No, you get a certificate.
Mhm.
You see, to get certified in court, you either have to go through it. Okay, let me say, I am certified in court. I don't go through a lot of discussion, but I do know, I think what happens is normally you have a hearing and you have to go through the expert witness, whether they've done this, that, and they qualify. I've never really gone through that because I've done just interviews pre-trial and then trial. And they haven't, right when you go into trial, they always say, can you tell me who you are and what you've done and how you got to be here? And you get 10 minutes to say, I did this, all the way to the end. And then the judge says something like, okay, that's fine. Now let's go on. So they have to, you just can't walk in. So what was I saying? You don't get, the qualification doesn't come from necessarily the genealogy community or the forensic community. It comes from the court. But leading up to that, you have to have all of that for the court to say you can do. I've testified 4 times already. So
yeah.
So anyway, the certificate says you completed the course and you've done casework. Obviously, there's Muddy has solved the case. That's good. It's good.
She said she did the St. Louis John Doe 2021.
I just saw that. Yeah, congratulations on that. I just saw that.
Were you part of a team, or is that all by yourself, or how'd that?
Yeah, Muddy. You always a whole bunch of people, right?
Well, actually, it actually has the thing says Ramapo College, New Jersey students help solve. So it's like the class, right? Like
it's like crowdsourcing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's crowdfunding. The identification of somebody. Team of 5. Do they split up? Like all the people there, they split them up in teams, like 4 here, 5 here, 3 here. Are you're kind of like glommed to your friends and you sit in the corner and get a case going? How do they handle that?
I was wondering if it was like a class. Hey, we've got a case for you guys as your thesis or whatever to work on. That's what my guess would have been.
Yeah. Well, I just want to know what Muddy was going to do with that because, there's also, there's not many jobs. I mean, there are some, and it's opening up because I just heard Ancestry. Wait a minute. There's a company called Genealogist, ProGen, and it was bought by Ancestry. It was like professional genealogy registry and stuff. And when Ancestry bought it, they laid off 25 genealogists or more. So you can consider that those people who are like top notch in the stratosphere, now they're all looking for jobs. So you're not only competing against Ramapo, you're competing against UNH, University of New Haven, United Data Connect, and all those genealogists out there that are professional and not finding jobs or being consolidated out of the industry.
I think eventually it's going to end up being where you can go get a degree in it, and then that's a lot harder. Like you're at a level there where I don't know if that's what that is, but like a degree, and then you can get a doctorate, and so I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm even saying really. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure what that school is. Is that sort of like one of those 2-year kind of schools that you go to where you can get a certificate?
I'm not sure. It's like a year, isn't it? Like one course, Muddy. I'm not sure the structure. They have the right people there, and they're teaching people how to do it. But my concern is there's so many people learning how to do this. So many people want to get into it.
Well, look at she just wants to do volunteer gigs. See that?
Well, yeah, you can volunteer. You got to find the right place, to volunteer. Again, there are tons of people there, and there are tons of volunteers. You got to be top notch. I'm not kidding.
Maybe she can send you a resume. Maybe she's good.
She can, but
She's
there's a
retired.
lot of competition, I'm telling you. And I pay my people. So what else? Let's see. Boy in the Box. That's kind of, they kept that open. You know, Boy in the Box was really, that was, awful because it was great. Took 3 years to get the DNA to work out. I went to every lab I could, and then I went to Europe to the ICMP. Went to Max Planck, got it done. It took 3 years, and the problem not only was the DNA hard, but it took the Philadelphia Police Department a year to organize that press conference. So during the year, people were saying, hey, how's the Boy in the Box going? I said, oh, it's going fine. It's like, we solved it 6 months ago. We can't tell you. It's like, oh, somebody said online somewhere, Misty said, oh, those people, they can't solve it. Look, they've had it for 3 years. Let's just take it from them. Let's show them how to do it. And we're going, no, not really. And we couldn't say anything. And so, Misty kind of got rattled by that. I said,
that was one of the ones that she really felt close to the Boy in the Box.
Yeah, because she has kids the same age.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. So, I see we're partners with law enforcement, mostly New Jersey State Police, but there work some California cases. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
She said above she's willing to do grunt work.
Yeah, okay.
She's applying. Send it in.
Well, let me say I work a lot with Duquesne University. We have, it's not like it is DNA stuff, but I've had 2 students come through Duquesne that are master's students, which I like very much. I did a survey a few years ago, just statistics on how many cases solved using FGG could only have been solved with FGG because the guy died before CODIS kicked in, or he stopped operating before CODIS kicked in. Mm-hmm. And so we took 100 cases, we added, subtracted, figured them all out. And believe it, you want to know how many percent could only have been solved? Now, it's probably better than that.
I bet it's like 80% or more.
Well, I tell you, minimum 37% of the people were either dead or stopped operating. But then you add misdemeanors, felonies that aren't collectible through DNA, and you have to add those in too. So it could have been 80%. It's hard to, a misdemeanor in one state is something different in another state. So in one state, you might collect DNA, and there you go. CODIS could do it, but in another state, you can't. So, so you've got to add that in the end to the tally. But so, and you know what's very interesting? My second student, now this is really interesting. While I was figuring all that out, I came across a discussion of how many serial killers are adopted. And they had 5% of people in the world are adopted. You go to the grocery store, and in general, there will be 5% of people you run into that are adopted. Okay, that's fine. Serial killers, it's something like 15% were adopted. So one of my students did a thing on serial killers that were adopted. How many were male? How many were female? What kind of, how many were raised in institutions? How many were raised by their grandparents? How many were just plain orphaned and never picked up, or how many were adopted by other people? And she did a real good job. And so I do a lot of work on like taking the data and doing statistics with it, not just it's after the DNA is done and you start to look at what's really happening. That was really interesting. At least 37%.
It seems like it'd be higher, I mean, like all these cases being solved, none of those would have been solved without.
Yeah, no, it can be higher. I'm just counting the guys that died before CODIS. Because if they died before CODIS, chances are you'll never find them.
Yeah, but I mean, you could probably make it something else where that's not one of your cutoffs, because there's an impossibility basically without FGG that you would have solved those. I guess that's what you're going for. Like how many of these would have been impossible? But I think some of the other ones are like 99.9%
Yeah.
would have been solved, and then you could add a lot more.
Yeah. I'm
I mean,
saying it's just messy to try and do that because you got to go through all 50 states and then you got to figure out when did felonies become DNA collectible. It wasn't right the first day. The laws have changed. So when you start to say, like up to 2000, felonies in Nebraska were not DNA eligible. That's a whole bunch of cases that have to be solved FGG, and that's the only way they're going to be solved. So it's 37 is the easy part of the calculation. There's just tons more on top of that. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 80%. So I have other kind of interesting things up my sleeve that, we're going to look at. Here's another interesting thing. What about, this is interesting. Let me run this by, the Boston Strangler, that guy, right? Everybody knows about that guy. Of the case victims that he killed, there's only one that had DNA on it. So what about the other ones? Are they really his or are they copycats? Think about that.
Sorry, my wife's calling.
Gray. So anyway,
all right, there you go.
Okay, so
She always calls at the same time every night when I'm doing the show. But.
Okay, of course. Yeah. Anyway, so that's really interesting about. Oh, and let me tell you the names of the. I'll tell you a list of names of that were adopted, or not raised by biological parents. All right, Ted Bundy, son of Sam, David Berkowitz, the woman Eileen Warnos in Florida. There's Rifkin. What's the first name? There's a serial killer. I keep forgetting his first name. Then Ken Bianchi.
Isn't it Joel or something?
Yeah, Joel Rifkin. Yeah. And then Ken Bianchi was also adopted. Now that's interesting because Ken Bianchi was the half of the Hillside Strangler. And he went around, he was adopted and he worked with the biological cousin of that family. So there was a pair there. One was adopted, one was not, and they were the Hillside Strangler. I would really like to study that. And that's not directly DNA, but it's a product of, how it works. I'm very interested in how it works, how well it works.
Mm-hmm.
See if DNA, like blood, is mixed or diluted with something else. Well, it depends. If it's water, yeah. If it's alcohol, yeah. Now you got to be careful because if you mix DNA with something, Zozo, it might chew up the DNA. So that's why serial killers leave bleach all over the place. People want to try and destroy the DNA, right?
That doesn't even work now. I don't think the DNA doesn't even. I mean, the bleach doesn't seem to work very well anymore.
I guess they must, the police must talk to the bleach people and say, hey, can you change bleach so that it doesn't destroy the DNA? We're tired of coming to crime scenes and all the DNA is gone. So maybe there's like a little conspiracy there. I don't know.
Let's see. Yeah, but if it's mixed with other blood, it's pretty difficult unless there's a major contributor, right?
Yeah. In FGG, we can't do mixtures too well. We can do it if the bad guy is a clear major.
I think what's really going to revolutionize everything is when you can get down to a cell. Like if you just have one cell and you can turn that into a sequence.
Yeah.
Then I think that's when you'll be able, because then you'll be able to go, okay, there's a mixture. Then you keep doing, okay, these are two different ones. Okay, boom, this, and then see who those two people are, and then go, okay, that one wasn't even, Well, just determine that's a victim, that's the killer, and it just seems like I don't know why that can't be done yet though, from one cell. I mean, it just seems.
Well, people are working on it, but I'll tell you, one cell maybe. We did 5 cells, but one cell depends. Yeah, I know why. The problem is the statistics. Usually, when you do SNP testing or whatever we do, CODIS. There's a lot of statistics involved. Like when we call the SNPs, what they do is it's like reading the DNA 30 times, basically. And every time you read the DNA, it's like scanning a book, and one scan might miss a phrase, or, the print might not be right, And so, but in another copy of the book, it might be fine. So you have statistics. You may have snips that appear all 30 times. You may have snips that appear 10 times.
I love that, like the whole thing that when you go through and explain, like, when you have that old fragmented DNA and you're just putting it together, it's like, a certain number of, I don't know what the terminology is, but like a sequence going here, but then it breaks off. And then, you find another piece that has part of that one, but then it extends over here. And you kind of just keep putting it together until you get as much of the sequence as you can, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what process is that called?
What is it? Imputation, or is it what? Say that again, Gray.
Well, like it's just kind of like, I remember you were explaining one time where, I don't know if the word is when you're trying to put together the sequence of old fragmented DNA and you crush it up and you go through some what was the name of that? Something Iser.
Tissuelizer.
Maybe something like that. I don't know if that's what it was, but it seemed like there was some place where it puts it all together from different fragments and creates as much of the string as possible.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what sequencing is, because it's like you take a book and you take all the pages out of the book and you scan all the pages all at one time, and on the other end you put the book back together. And that's what we do with DNA. We take DNA, we fragment it, run it through the scanner, and then on the other side, pretty much all humans are the same, 95%, 97%. So basically, you can put it back together. You may have like little tweaks that are different, which is we interested in those tweaks. But, putting it back together is, and then if you have holes in it, you can fill in the holes, because basically, it's human DNA, and that basically you have a hole there and it's human DNA. You know what it is, because everybody's about the same. So that's what it is.
Mm-hmm. But you might have it where you have half of a page, but later finds a piece of the page, the same page from another chunk of. Is that right? And then it goes, okay, we got that part now. This one had a little extra. So it snaps that in, right?
Mm-hmm. It's like scanning 30 copies of the book. Doing it 30 times. Getting a book, taking it apart, scanning it, getting another copy, scanning it, not every copy is the same quality. Some are better quality than others. So at the other end, you have all these pages, you put it back, but it could be a single page sometimes comes out very well and sometimes doesn't. So, you got a little bit of statistics there, how many times that page really show up.
So you might be missing an entire chapter in one of the books.
You could.
Maybe a couple pages in the other, but the other book has it, so slaps it together, right?
Yeah, we've done that where we had two copies, two sequences, and they were all pretty ratty. But when you put them together, beautiful.
And it might not even be full then, but it had enough of the non-95% shared stuff that you can then go, okay.
We do. That's exactly right. That's how it works. And when you have big holes in it, you can fill in the holes with imputation.
And what does that mean, imputation?
It just means, if you have a hole, you reach out in the human genome, whatever they have in the scientific literature, and you bring that piece, you can put that piece in and reconstruct it, because everybody's human.
That's the imputation, means you're putting back in the parts that everybody has.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that movie Jurassic Park, when they went to the little thing sitting around in there, when they had the sequence of, they had to fill it in with the frog DNA.
Oh yeah,
the little cartoon thing that they had up on the screen. Remember that?
Yeah, right. So something
not quite that bad, but
yeah.
That's COVID, man. I tell you.
Yeah, something like that. So anyway, you asked how that worked in single cell. We got on that because of single cell, and people are working on it. But if you do single cell, you can't read 30 times. You know what I mean? You only have once. So that's a problem, because you don't have the statistics.
Yeah.
So that's it. So that's how it works. So I didn't see the answer. How many of you taken direct to consumer test? I saw some people go.
I have. I can do a poll. I can do a poll really quick.
Yeah. Okay.
Not through StreamYard, but have you?
Okay, somebody asked epigenetic SNPs. Tell me what you mean by epigenetic SNPs. That's Cold Truth was asking. How do you think comparing suspects' DNA to crime? I don't think that would be helpful because I think that's medical sensitive SNPs, and we try and absolutely avoid that.
And I didn't really word it too good, but let's see. It says,
Can I do it? Can I do
for DNA on, and I spelled it totally wrong. I just typed it in as fast as I could.
We all know what you mean. I did. Yeah, I did 23andMe.
I did Ancestry.
Well, hoity-toity.
I just sent it in. I didn't know. I wasn't even, but I did upload. The key, everybody, is after you've done that, that's great and everything. That's cool. But upload to GEDmatch.
How many of you were uploaded to GEDmatch? Right. We need
People are so scared. It's just so, you know what? You send it in and that's it, man. There's no, there's no like some weird sort of 1984 going on in the background.
People say I'm worried about my privacy. And my answer is you have nothing to worry about because you don't have any privacy.
Well, there you go.
So
it's only, look at only 37% have.
Oh, really? Oh, everybody. And how many of the 37% have uploaded to GEDmatch?
I'll do that one now. I'll do that next.
Okay, you better upload to GEDmatch, everybody.
Okay, I'm ending that poll. That was 65 no. Okay, this one, I'll just put, for those who have signed up, have you uploaded to GEDmatch your raw data? I'm just going to put that at the end.
Yeah, do that. Okay. I have. Have I done that? Yes, I have. Oh, I see. Kind of. 60%. Is it 60? 40? So we have 60% of 30. So that's like 18, 20%. Oh, come on. 54%.
How many people answered the first question? I didn't look at that.
I think it was like 38 or something.
Okay.
Nice. So upload to GEDmatch. Upload to GEDmatch. And we do use junk DNA as far as we know. So Amber's leaving bedside nursing and she's concerned about competitiveness. Well, you should be concerned because it's very competitive.
Who said that?
That was Amber. Hi, Amber.
Which Amber Maiden? I don't remember.
Yeah. So, yeah, thanks this account. You've had some good words. Plato, you're hanging in there. Like Plato's comments, you know.
Hanging in.
Yeah. You know, one I'd like to do is a tattooed man out of Cleveland. You know, the tattooed man, there was a serial killer up there, and he's one of the last unidentified victims. And they have to exhume him. You know, they can't. He was this guy with tattoos, like sailor tattoos all over him. And I'd like to do that, but, you know, it takes an exhumation. It takes not the problem. We have the slush fund here, but it's just the time it would take to pull it up. I think that was in the 1930s. Let me look up tattooed man. That's one I've been wanting to do, but
yeah, you know, I was thinking like people they're all like, oh yeah, and that FGG I think it's hard. Like you know, I think you either can do it or I think it's sort of a natural thing that you can do.
Yeah,
I think you can be taught it and you can be okay at it, but then there's these other people, kind of like Misty, I would think.
Yeah,
that are just sort of like a savant, you know.
Yeah,
sort of show up and then it's like boom, you know.
Yeah, that Misty is kind of interesting because she's so intuitive. She's so smart. You know, everybody, Misty, you probably know is she got married out of high school. So she has, you know, she doesn't have a big solid education behind her, advanced education, but she's brilliant and she just, slams those cases. It's very interesting. And when she left, we did like a little slideshow of everything she had done, and we were just crying because she did Bibb County, she did Julie Hansen, she did Boy in the Box. We had pictures of her. Well, at the Bibb County ceremony she had gone to. Let me think what else. Oh, she's a member of the VDOC Society, and that is incredible. That's what the VDOC Society is. So that's really incredible. That somebody there's only 2 or 3 of us, and there's me and Misty and maybe one other one I'll think about. But
That's pretty amazing.
And so we had like a little slideshow. I'm trying to think of the other one she worked on, but Baby Madison. Baby Madison.
There's a ton of stuff.
Yeah, she did good. She's done. There's a few other baby cases she's worked on because her kids. She really loves children. So, maybe she'll come on anyway with us, one time. She works for Parabon now, but she may, we talk all the time. So it'd be nice to have both of us on the show again, talking about retrospective of some of the old cases we've done.
Wow.
That would be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is. So let's see what else. So we got, so only 18%, 20% of you have uploaded to GEDmatch. Shame. Okay.
Looks like I see, I think 40% have.
Oh, 40%.
39%.
39% of the how many percent?
Yeah, but that's only out of 30. Well, there's 31 votes this time, so that's not too bad. 15 people, 14 people, whatever.
What's holding you back?
Yeah, just upload it, man. You take the raw data, you upload it. It's kind of interesting. I mean, the lady was showing me how to do it. I can't remember her name now, but so it was pretty interesting. You just upload it onto there. You take the highest centimorgan match. You try to figure out all the stuff related to that person, put them in a tree. Then you work your way down the next centimorgan match, put them on the tree. When you find the overlap of both sides, you're somewhere.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, let me explain. I got away. I was on Nancy Grace, and I actually explained it, and Nancy Grace said she understood it. So I'm going to try it here. I said, boy, if she understands it, I'm going to try it again. It's like this. Everybody here knows you take an ancestry test, and they give you a list of DNA cousins. Everybody knows that, right? All these people are related to you because they share DNA. Everybody knows that. All right. So what happens is you have a list. If you're adopted, you're looking at, or you're working a whole case, you look at a list of people that are related to you and you don't know who these people are. So you find out. So because all the people are related to you, they have to be related to each other, either by blood or by marriage. So what you do is you take yourself out of the equation and you start building their trees and connecting them. It's like a big Sudoku puzzle, because when you're done, everybody has to be consistent. If this is this grandma, he has to be the first cousin and the second cousin, and you get this network where horizontal, vertically, and diagonally, everybody has to be consistent, right, with each other. So once you have the Sudoku done, there's a piece missing, and that's who you're looking for, or a brother. So that's basically how it works. That's really easy to understand. You got to have this tree, this network, all got to be perfect, all consistent, one hole in it, and that's the last guy.
Yeah, like the conceptual part of it makes sense to me. It's just like when you're actually doing it and you're looking at it, it gets sort of overwhelming for just a regular person. Like all these,
No, but I'm going to say another part of it, is that another way of doing it is that you can look at it this way. You have all those people, you don't know who they are. You find out. You take every single person and you start building their family tree. You get birth, marriage, death records. You get obituaries. You get, other people's trees. Mm-hmm. And so you have these 10 trees you're building out, and they're going to start to connect. And then that's what happens. It's ability to look at that network and figure.
Yeah, that's it right there.
Yeah.
And for some people, they just look at it and go, "Oh, boom!" It just
Yeah.
somehow made sense to them right away.
And somebody said, well, how is it when you have an incestuous family? It's pretty tough. We have a case of a young girl, unidentified human remains that was, she was, her brother and sister were her parents. So you don't have a family tree to build there. Or you sort of do, but everything's doubled because the parents are siblings. It's pretty hard. I don't know. Yeah. So what if you have multiple personalities? Well, you can have multiple DNAs in your body. Remember the Chimera thing we were talking about?
That was crazy. If you go get
crazy.
A bone marrow transplant, you can end up having the sperm of the donor.
Yeah.
How crazy is that, you guys? So
Yeah.
all of a sudden you have a half black child because a black person was generous enough to give their bone marrow, and then you get it in a transplant, and then you have a baby with your wife that's black. You're immediately going to think that she cheated on you, and you would. It would be 100% that she cheated on you, right?
Yeah, right.
It would have to be, but she didn't. That's the thing.
So you find DNA of a killer at a crime scene, and you figure out that the mom was some housewife in Poughkeepsie, New York, and the father is some 20 years younger flight attendant from Germany. She's got a lot of explaining to do.
Yeah, except it turns out that she needed a bone marrow transplant from the 20-year-old.
Yep. Or her husband did. Her husband needed it.
Oh, yeah.
And there it is.
Oh, that's right,
yeah. So A. Heineman says, I couldn't figure out how to get my raw data. You go under settings, and it says download your data. You'll get a little text file on your hard drive, and that's what you have to upload to GEDmatch.
Yeah, and it's cool. You know what sucked is when I was doing the little experiment.
Yeah, what's
the
that?
highest one was 760 centimorgans when I uploaded, which is pretty amazing, right? That's
a lot.
It turns out that I just happened to know that we had a cousin, or let's see, my mom's sister had a daughter that she gave up for adoption, and that's who that one was. And she just came forward like a year before. If I hadn't known that, it would have turned that into like a completely just a nightmare first experience. I can just tell you.
Yeah.
Just think about that. You'd see this and go, who is this? They're not connected to anybody. They're
Yeah, I know. I've had that, just recently. What was it? Somebody said, she called me, says, my son took this test and he's got a half sister. Oops. I said, she said, I'm divorced now. I said, well, maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah, maybe you can say without saying anything about whatever case or it is or anything, the scenario that we were just talking about recently. Is that something we could talk about without saying anything?
Well, you mean the mapping?
The case where there's that, and then there's also the case where it was somebody, there was like an affair with somebody, and they had a child when the guy was in prison, and she had a baby.
Oh,
it was one of the cases. But you can just say it. It's one that was
in general. We have a case which we will talk about when we can.
It's one of ours.
It's unidentified human remains case, and when we said, we think we know who it is. This is a Gray Hughes sponsored case that we will tell you. Gray, we already? No, we didn't announce it yet, right? That's right. I'm telling you. Okay. Anyway, we identified some human remains, and this person had a daughter, and the daughter didn't match. So the daughter didn't match. So we oops, maybe we have the wrong person. No, the daughter was a product of an affair that the wife had.
With his DNA in it, because he's the dad.
We had to go to, a larger family member, like a niece or something, to prove it was him. Yeah, we didn't announce that yet, right, Gray?
No.
What I'm talking about. What? It's sort of interesting. We're between announcing all kinds of ones we solved and the ones we're starting to work on. It's kind of frustrating, isn't it? But let's make a rain check, because some of those are going to be resolved real quick.
Yeah, and maybe we could just do that broad thing about I've already mentioned it before, but it was like there's another unsolved human remains case where we got to use some of my mapping.
Yes.
Expertise.
We didn't know where he was buried, and we had to really work on it. When we looked from this angle, that angle, look, the tree is back there, and there, little stone there.
I kept texting you. Remember, I kept texting you, look at the trees. There's this little house in the background, and there was just this really old photograph, and that's all there was of the ceremony of an unmarked grave. And it was like, but just using that and Google Earth, I was able to kind of, I think I get it in the right general area.
Yeah. But, when it should be shortly, we can, I'd say, Gray, maybe even next week or so, maybe I'll come on and we can do the mapping and show them where, how really it was really you that did it, kind of figured out the mapping and how that all worked. So,
yeah, that'll be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really cool once it's all solved.
Yeah, that'll be good. So we're kind of stalled out. We had kind of a hiatus, but I'm sorry, all freaks, but I'm back. You can see I'm wearing my freak T-shirt for Goodwill.
There it is.
My freak up here, that.
Well, you could have come. We could have. It's just been not just you on a hiatus. There's been just sort of overlap of bad timing and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Here's one money pause thing. Sorry if you covered this before. Thoughts on new testing on JonBenet's case? I saw they were trying to use MVAC back in.
Yeah, let me tell you, this is the problem with JonBenet's case, is that the house is contaminated with her parents' DNA. So if the parents, we can, that's endless discussion with the parents involved. We'll never know that. Probably. Now they can do MVAC, but the problem with MVAC now is, I understand they got DNA from her panties, but some of that DNA matched the DNA in the factory that did those panties. The only real place you can get any DNA is through the center of the knot that was used to garrot her. So I don't know what they're doing with that, but so far as I know, to me that case is toast because everything's been contaminated.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is any DNA that the parents would leave there, touch DNA is completely explainable unless it was not like you're talking about in the
somewhere that you can't explain, but really the knot's the only place because they handled her, they brought her up. The house is full of their DNA. It has to be circumstantial evidence. Like I do want to say one thing, it has nothing to do with DNA. If you read the ransom note, the one that was left on the yellow paper in the kitchen, I'm going to tell you, read it again. It was written by a woman, and it was written by a woman who is a mother. Because it's very interesting. Man, I keep saying that, but it is. Men and women use language differently, and all freaks are going to know this, is that a man will say, "Do you want a cup of coffee?" End of story. A woman will say, "How about a hot cup of coffee?" There's a difference, a lot of texture, a lot of more social, how about it? And so if you read that, you will see a woman wrote that. You can't miss it. And in addition, it's a mother because the person says something like, we're gonna tell you where to put the ransom tomorrow, and you better get a good night's sleep because it's going to be a long day. Why would a kidnapper do that? Say that. And then bring a real big bag because there's going to be a lot of money and it's going to be heavy. Why would the kidnapper care what size bag, you bringing to get with the ransom or something? So I'm just saying that, you read it, everybody read it. And it's written by a woman, which is very, you got to think about things like that. So, I tell you,
a lot of people think that, the mom wrote it,
Yeah. Well, it could have been the kid was already dead by somebody else. And just because she wrote it gives some kick to the investigation, but it doesn't prove anything. But I'm telling you, all the freaks, if you're interested in the JonBenet case, I think it may be solved by circumstantial evidence, but I don't think it'll ever be solved. We'll have to see because, like I said, everything's, to my knowledge, has been contaminated except for the interior of that knot, which may yield something. But the problem is there's so many political, moving parts in the politics of the Denver Police Department and stuff and the DA and stuff that, we may never find that out. It's been 25 years, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, everybody knows that a lot of people think that the son did it, and then the mother covering it up with the,
that's possible because
not everybody, but some people think that
the pineapple and the milk in her belly, and it was on the Patsy Ramsey's fingerprints are on the bowl that had the pineapple, whatever. Now I've read that, and I'd have to really research it if it's right or not, or if I just read something.
And then, of course, you would come up with quick excuses and rights and try to cover it up for your own kid,
Yeah. So it's really, we don't know. That's one of those cases where, gee, I wish they hadn't contaminated the crime scene. Wouldn't that have been nice?
Yeah.
So I'm going to sign off, Gray, because I'm a little.
Oh wow, I didn't even realize it. Yeah, look at that, an hour and some odd minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I was hanging in. I enjoyed it. I wanted to really pitch.
I saw the lights turn off in the background. It just kept getting darker and darker. We knew, the only thing you didn't do was jingle your keys. That's when you know somebody's about to take off. When you hear this. Yeah, well, hey, I tell you what, it was. I'm just kidding.
No, come on. I'm having a good time. I'm having a great time with the. See, I have my set.
Watch Pig Never. I actually talked to him, Dan Carr.
How's Dan doing? How's Danny?
Yeah, he seems to be doing pretty good. He's just kind of trying to get the world figured out. He's missing an eye, so he's.
Oh dear.
Because
he was sick.
Well, he had some weird, kind of crazy bacteria that got into his eye, and it was crazy. Yeah, weird stuff.
Yeah.
But anyways. I thought everybody had a good time. It was really interesting. See?
Yeah, I'm going to go. I'm sorry, freaks. We don't have a lot of cases to talk about right now. We kind of got to dilute, sort of. We kind of lost. But we're back, and there's one in the hopper. We should be able to speak about the one that, what I'm talking about, the mapping, Gray. That one?
Yeah.
So the one about the daughter that didn't match, we should be able to talk about that
Let's
one.
always keep on the background. I don't know if you finished up on Addison County one, but. The Vermont one.
Yeah, that one. That one, we don't know. The DNA is so bad, it might be over.
Let's work on getting. That's like the one that I just we'll have to get it figured out. So maybe we can convince somebody to let us exhume. Again.
Yeah, well, maybe I could just write them again. Maybe everybody's been voted out of office.
Right. Yeah, because it's been a while.
So I can see, maybe write them and say, hey, we haven't talked to you for a while. We're still interested. What else do you have above ground? Or is it possible to exhume another element or something, another specimen? That I'll put a little note and see if I can, and tell them what happened, that, there was DNA there, but not a ton.
Yeah. You might even say that we'll even pay for the exhumation.
Yeah. I'll do that. And if I remember right, one of the problems there was that not the money, but just the time to go and do that. And they were, really, it's a small town. They have a lot to do. The mayor is the guy who runs the post office, who's the, the city attorney. And he also owns the ice cream shop on the corner, something like that. So everybody was like origami folded into the city. And they were really, it was a question of just time devoted to that.
But all right. Well, hey, thank you very much for coming on. Let's get going on some of these other cases.
Yeah, and let's see if we can pull Misty back in. See if she'd like to sit in. So
yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, look, we'll talk to you, freaks. We had a good time, and I'll talk to everybody soon. Gray, I'll talk to you during the week.
I'm sure. All right. See you later.
Bye, guys.
All right. Bye. Yeah. Well, there it is. There it is. All right. Well, anyways, I got to go use the restroom. So I'm going to play this music. But yeah, make sure you guys come back tomorrow. Tomorrow's our donation night where we have one last push at the end of the month. The problem with this month for me is that I already spent $1,000, like $200 on getting photographs and whatever for the Sebastian Rogers case. Or not Sebastian, Jesus, Sebastian Rogers. For Madeline Soto. See, there's the COVID brain. The Madeline Soto case. So it's like, I don't know. I'm going to have to figure out a way to... I'm going to try to be able to donate like at least $2,500 or so tomorrow, but we'll see how it goes. You got to have a good donation night. So make sure you're all here for that one. I noticed we died down in here a while ago. Would be cool to have a good night tonight to make up. Well, when I say make up, I don't even know what that even means anymore. I don't even have numbers. I just do videos to try to make things work. But anyways, I got to go use the restroom. You love that music? God, I love it. Yeah, everybody just realize this. Richard Allen is the killer in the Delphi case. All right. I was going to try to go. It's going to be hard for anybody, it's going to be hard to get in as a person in the public. That's the problem. Because there's only a certain amount of seats in there. But I'm going to try to, I might go. I'm not really sure. I'm kind of, been communicating with people to get in there. But there isn't a lot of seats. I mean, there's only like 20 seats total. I mean, that's pretty crazy. What do you mean you can't wait to hear about his confession? I mean, haven't we gone over? Well, yeah, I guess the specifics of them. Yeah. Yeah, I guess this is right here. From yesterday, several reported confessions to family members, jail staff, and doctors made by Delphi double murder suspect Richard Allen have been ruled admissible in court. So what about, let me ask you this. Does anybody know, has she ruled on yet if they can use the third-party suspect crap with the odiness? Has she ruled on that? That's the one that matters the most to me. Yeah. Yeah. Does anybody know that? But I think it's funny that there's people out there that think he's like, if you just have a logical brain that works, Richard Allen is the killer. Okay. You can be somebody out there. I don't know, man. I just think then you go ahead and be a whack job. Okay. You can do whatever the hell you want to do, but Richard Allen is the guy. He even admits to being there. That's him. Exactly the time he confessed to people because he found God and he wanted to do the right thing, but then he was convinced otherwise. You know, the guy did it. All right. Now, of course, there has to be a trial, and then that's when he's determined and found guilty. But I am a person who, after looking at all the stuff that's just out there now, is just like he did this 100%. You have a lot of these people that try to make the case more interesting and pretend that there's all this other stuff out there, and I don't respect those people. Okay, they're just trying to do it to get more views, because once you say and in your mind that Richard Allen is the killer, then there's really hardly you can just keep going over the same stuff again, showing it again to people with brains. They go, oh yeah, no doubt. Or you can go, ooh, I don't believe it. And then you can come up with and believe in all the crazy stuff on the side. Okay? Stupid. Allen's defense team comprised attorneys Andrew Baldwin and Brad Rosie previously argued to Judge Gould that statements should be thrown out if they're in their request was filed in April. The lawyers claimed Allen's mental health deteriorated. That's total garbage. Everybody that has a brain knows that Richard Allen, he changed the way when he was acting crazy. It was due to the fact that his wife called the attorneys and said, "Oh my God, he confessed." Then they came in and had to give him an alternate plan to hide, make it seem like that confession was derived a different way, and it's because he was crazy. Everything was fine right up until that point. Obvious. And then a bunch of wacky YouTubers went out there and started getting into the ears of the defense attorneys, and they started going, ooh, wow, that odiness stuff. Ooh. It's just insane. I mean, so here's what the people have to believe is that the state, the prosecutors, everybody, they were completely aware that odiness did this and then covered it up for some reason, right? Because if all this stuff was true and it was just absolutely pointing to them, I think they thought they were interesting at the beginning, but then it turns out they had alibis, etc. But if it was all pointing to those people, why don't you think they would have just jumped on it and just went, wow, we got it, boom? Why do you think they wouldn't do that? And the only answer you can come up with is that you believe that there's a conspiracy, that there were odiness, and that's why they're pointing out that a couple of the guards had odiness tattoos on them. They're pointing that out so that people start thinking, wow, so they were embedded there too. Of course they're covering it up. It's just it's an absolute embarrassment, But Hey, whatever sells, right, you guys? Whatever sells. So, anyways, I guess that's going to do it for me tonight. I'm going to get off of here. But I want to say thanks to everybody tonight. Wendy Van Rokel, Plato, not Play-Doh, but Plato, Ozzy, Trisha, Muddy Paws, Alley Cake, Amber Maiden, but Muddy Paws was a cat eye, then Alley Cake, then this account, then K-Me, Sherry Wilson, Michelle H, WNC Granny, this account, and Brown Eyed Girl with a double cat eye, and Muddy Paws with a cat eye again. Then Muddy Paws, Georgina Stoliker, Muddy Paws. So special thanks to Muddy Paws and Brown Eyed Girl there. And thanks to everybody else as well who helped support the channel tonight. I put out a video today with 30 new images in the Madeline Soto case, but it had so few views I just deleted it. I mean, it was like, it was almost as if YouTube didn't even know it existed. It had like 600 views after an hour. That's so, and it was like 1 view a minute after that. It was getting crushed. Just terrible. So it's gone. And that was part of some of the money that I'm spending. So man, if those videos do like that, that's just a loss. I don't know if I can afford to do those. Yeah, I like the ones with Dr. Colleen Fitzpatrick. But anyways, thanks a lot, everybody, for being here. We'll see you guys next time. And as I always say, until that next time, peace. I guess I have to go back over to here on this screen. Be safe out there.
Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now.
I remember the Lady of the
And
Dunes.
during
We
this
actually
whole
covered
time,
that
I
on
have
the
not
show
seen one person
before that was solved.
That is a crime dissector, plug rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Gray is gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his vector. With all respect, y'all. Just remember, I the temple fucking check ya. I have no agenda. I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody? Talk to you.